Now, I'm sure some of you conservation law students are about ready for a break from forestry talk. Let's look at this here border on the St. Francis River between the United States and Canada, or specifically between Maine and Quebec. We talked before about how streams like to move in their channels. There's an old oxbow there, an old oxbow there, and the current channel here. Somebody in 1700 and something, in their infinite wisdom, decided to mark the border according to a river. Some rivers are very good boundaries. This one, no. So this was the river, and is no longer the river, and now appears to be a continuous field accessed via Quebec. Looks like we just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth we go. Here's an article. I'll provide a link in the bright space area. One of my favorite things to think about is if you can farm here, why not here? And sometimes there's a good and apparent reason, but a lot of times it's nothing but geography. This is the southern part of one country and the northern part of another. And you see that all across the northern border. If you can farm an area like this, there's got to be a place you could farm in the same way here. All it would take is people with a desire to do it. There are places on the border with no farms on either side. What I take from this is that we have land that could be farmed but isn't. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it is curious when you're driving along and all of a sudden a dog barks and you realize there's a whole farmer's field right over the way. This is a part of the border where it makes a bit more sense. We see extensive farming here and extensive mountains here. But you can't really tell me you can farm this and you couldn't farm that. But in Quebec, like Maine, you can find whole fields that have been given up as such and planted to conifer. Here we're over on the eastern border. This is Hamlin, Grand Falls, St. Leonard on the other side. This is New Brunswick. So we have farms on both sides here. This is a different band of soil driving all the settlement patterns around here. This is a very old general soils map of Maine. And if we look at that area around Presque Isle, Caribou here, remember that curve. Go back to here, that same curve here. But for this part of the world, I really think there's nothing much more than history and geography driving the settlement pattern here. And of course, a big dose of politics. So I want you to find something interesting along this border. See if you can explain what it is. It might be an apparent crossing that's other than a normal checkpoint. Could be a farm building on one side or the other. Could be any number of things. But use old photos that you can access through Google Earth. You've seen how. Use Google to examine any local place names. See what you can find out about the spot.